educating for brands, because that was my first experience really walking into big dispensaries.
What year are we talking about? Like talking online, are you using Reddit threads to kind of like find yourself versed and knowledgeable?
2018, 2019. So a little bit of Reddit, sure, yes, but really at that time YouTube wasn't censoring cannabis content as hard. YouTube went into its cannabis purge in 2018, and for most of that year, a lot of the content wasn't being monitored like that, and people weren't getting deleted and they weren't getting demonetized, and so I was consuming a lot of that content on YouTube. And then, I got introduced to the people that had to start WeedTube. They were all a bunch of influencers that got deleted off of YouTube. They basically got purged off and didn't have anywhere else to go. Crowdfunded, started their own website. It actually started as a WordPress page, if you can believe, video content playing on a WordPress.
Yeah.
Totally. So it really was just like ground up, and they kind of just went and dove into it. The biggest ask from the community was, we want an app. Like, that was the first thing that everyone wanted. And of course, apps are super expensive, but they figured it out.
Especially with like digital streaming and media and uploading.
That's the other huge thing, is like paying to host the video content. No one thinks about how expensive that is. Yeah. My mind was blown when that door blew open for me, and I was like, damn, okay.
Yeah, that's not fucking cheap at all.
Yeah.
And so one great thing is that y'all are not actually like leaning on, necessarily subscribers to pay a whole bunch of money to, take
absolutely
it.
not.
Like that's not y'all's method of not only revenue, but what you're also driving monetization for the creators as well.
Absolutely. And that's the biggest thing too, I think, especially for me when I work with brands or I work with a company or I'm doing a strain review or anything. I want to be able to make sure I post the content and it stays there. If they're going to pay the money for it and I'm going to put in the work, I want people to see it, or I want people to be able to go back. I hate the thought of like losing it. And that was like the biggest thing as like a psychology student when I got into the whole world of social media.
How does that have to, what?
I graduated with a degree in psychology. So social media, how that plays on your psyche is already so dramatic, right? But then when you throw in cannabis censorship and you're trying to create content online, you're putting yourself out there, and it can be really detrimental when you're like getting deleted. You're having to start over and over and over.
Okay, now I will agree, because that is one reason I wanted to talk with you today, was about the censorship that we're seeing on just that mainstream social media. Like, we've done 3 years of work, and if someone just like wipes out, because that is rented space,
That was happening on people's YouTube channels.
All of this social media is rented space.
Totally.
And so, like, if we get one more strike, then we're out of there, and so we're trying to navigate, find what are the best ways for us to connect with our, cannabis friendly community. And so some of them are casual users, and some of them are like, let's hit a fucking ton of dabs this afternoon, so there's this wide range.
There's a whole scale. It's a spectrum of consumption.
And you can't find that like relatable content on normal social media. So what is the plan of action? Like, how do we reach more followers for WeedTube?
Absolutely. I think WeedTube's biggest thing. So after accomplishing the app, that was like a huge feat. Getting into the App Store before they were like really cannabis friendly, getting into Android, having them available, that was a lot of work in itself.
So were y'all available before Apple did the original strike?
Yes, we actually got swept up in the cart feature. We didn't even have a cart. We were just, we're WeedTube, so they just put us in the pool, and we fought it. We're like, absolutely not. We actually had some coverage from, I think Rolling Stone reached out and asked them about it, and then next thing you know, we're back on the App Store. So sometimes it just takes like one phone call, and then they're like,
you just gotta figure out which number to dial.
Yep, exactly. And that is unfortunate. I wish that wasn't like that.
Yeah,
we also just had our Instagram disabled, and it wasn't until we think Bloomberg reached out for comment that same very day we got our Instagram back. So there's always something. If someone is aware that something is happening, they will go out of their way to fix it. But until then, you're just another name in the masses.
Yeah, so let's give some tips to maybe the cannabis content creators that are listening, like for those that are in that game. How can we sign up for an account? How can we follow y'all's pages? What's the navigation tools for using not only the app but the website for those that either want to sign up or start consuming all this content?
So right now, WeedTube is really set up for long form content. They did just implement like a DM feature, so now they have DMs. You can contact and kind of create and curate that community a little bit closer with like your followers, anyone you want to collab with, creators, things like that. So that was really great to get added in. They are building it out to kind of be more of a central hub because they want to enable the whole community. Not everyone is doing long form content. There's a lot of really good short form content, and we want to acknowledge that. It's just it's a matter of kind of building that out.
The attention span is also shrinking, where like, it's, 3 to 5 or 3 to 7 minutes is about where you got them. Like that's
and you have hardcore dedicated people to that long form content too. So that's why I'm like, bring it all together. So they're working on that. But right now it's very like much like YouTube. You sign up. It's a simple process. You can basically just verify your account, type in your birthday, all that fun stuff, and then upload your profile picture, and it's free. You just start uploading your content and kind of curating what you want your page to be. Promoting it is always like a big deal. Obviously, we're censored on all of their platforms for the most part, so we're out here.
Aren't we all?
We're out here fighting, but really, like, our biggest thing is like we offer advertising services to the cannabis community. We do pre-roll commercial advertising, and we have like banner ads, and we're able to kind of monetize that space in a different, unique way, but we can't put ads for WeedTube on WeedTube. It doesn't work. That's not how it grows. So it's interesting how we've had to kind of go out of our way to build that audience and kind of garner
on random podcasts and hallways.
Absolutely. Well, see but that's great is like, you can grow the community very authentically. And I think that a lot of people that are looking for this safe space just don't know about it yet.
Yeah. And what you're creating is a genuine following as well. I almost said followership. Goodness gracious.
Well, and that's as a creator creating on there, you can create a genuine group, like community, and they won't lose you. That's the biggest thing. A lot of these creators, they lost their communities when they were deleted off YouTube. I still see people comment on their content all the time and say, oh my God, I remember seeing you on YouTube. I haven't seen you in years. And it's just, they lost their communities, and there was no way to get it back unless you were following on, multiple platforms, which not everyone does. So it's interesting for sure.
Hell yeah, I love it.
Yeah. But basically, WeedTube, same thing. You upload content, you can like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff always helps with the algorithm. And yeah, I'm like trying to think of, anything crazy about WeedTube? No, not really. It's very, very basic for right now.
It's a vague but crazy question. What's in the future? What do y'all have next? Like, what do we have in the 92-year, 5-year pipeline?
Absolutely. Well, like I said, it would be nice to have one hub. There are currently like a lot of other platforms and apps kind of coming out covering cannabis media, trying to be like, new Instagrams, like new community safe spaces. And I think those are all really important. And I think WeedTube also needs to have that space, because as a content creator, I love uploading pictures. I love uploading short form content. Like, I would take way more pictures of my weed if I knew they just like wouldn't get deleted right away, or if I wasn't just keeping them for myself. Like, I do really want to like kind of catalog and strain journal and share my journey online, because why not? We're our own little like case study experiments. So I really see it that way. And I think that, creators creating profiles and like sharing their journey with cannabis as they go is going to be huge to industry insight, like, 50 years from now, when we're like trying to figure out how to really regulate the whole gist of it. But it's interesting. Yeah. I mean,
have you seen folks that maybe haven't been banned on YouTube yet, that they'll either have a dual platform, or like you're starting to see the same TikTok followers have the pages as well?
Totally.
Is it kind of like starting to see more of a mesh between y'all and those
There's
crowds?
Usually a mesh, and there's a lot. I think, all of the co-founders, still the ones that did get their pages back, they upload to YouTube because they talk about WeedTube for the most part, and they try to keep their content safe for YouTube, because there is that stronger audience of people that just won't go out of their way. YouTube is really convenient and easy to use now. They've got so much money, and they've really updated their systems. Like, the YouTube we have now versus the YouTube in 2009.
Well, yeah,
astronomically
different.
Google
owns now, is it not?
Yeah, no, absolutely. But WeedTube is going to do that. It's just going to take a little time. But like you said, 5-year plan. 5 years from now, wouldn't it be ideal to have a profile with a news feed, with pictures, with strain journals, with catalogs? Like, you can have your video content. You can kind of do a little bit of all of it and have it hubbed in one area. And doesn't have to be cannabis specific, but it definitely could be. And I think that's the biggest thing with WeedTube.
You don't have to be cannabis.
Totally.
Like, you can be like,
we have a whole
just cooking,
psychedelic
like
industry.
Stoners love
that too.
Fucking looking at, that's what I do. I watch Hot Ones and Old Bourdains and tons of Guy Fieri. Mm-hmm. Like, that's what, stoners, they're like, oh, that looks really good. I want that.
Yes.
So it's not just for the cannabis.
I post my
users.
Art content on there. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
I love making art videos and putting them in there as well. I think creating not on cannabis, but on cannabis when you are high and consuming, that's part of the whole creative process. You don't have to like say that you're going to smoke or say that you're high or like take a bong rip on camera, but people are still going to be like, they did this.
Yeah, they relate.
Totally. Absolutely.
Yeah. And
absolutely.
so it is for everyone, from just the casual stoner that's like, let's go see what this stoner chef is cooking up, all the way down the pipeline and be like, watch this guy fucking take down 10-gram dabs.
Absolutely.
With his butthole.
That sounds horrifying. But yeah, definitely.
That's allowed.
Oh my God. Okay. On a gram of shrooms? No.
Yeah. Okay, so you did really well there. I think you did really fucking good.
Thank you.
Now you have to take off the work hat.
Oh, you're complimenting me before. Okay, I got you.
Yeah, so now we're going to ask just Ariana some questions.
Perfect.
No one's listening from the work. Don't worry about it.
Right.
When was the first time you got high?
16.
Okay.
I waited. Isn't that pretty impressive?
I mean, yeah, that's fairly good.
It wasn't anything crazy. I did have a friend who just ran around with a couple older guys, got her hands on something. I'm pretty sure it wasn't all cannabis. It had to have been cut with some oregano or some sage or something sus. I'm in Great Falls. Okay, it's Montana, everyone.
It's just stepped on weed. I mean,
don't come for me.
I grew up in the South, so we just got sticks, seeds, and stems.
That's true. I didn't even think about that. But yeah, it was, my first story isn't anything crazy. You know, I was hanging out with my 3 girlfriends. She hooked it up. But she did have, I always think this is so funny, she had like this wooden carved penis pipe. And so, yeah.
We don't judge here on this podcast.
That's why I said, you told me to take off my hat. So I was like, that's 16-year-old me in a nutshell.
I probably wouldn't have put the penis pipe against my mouth, not for like homophobic purposes, but just, it could be like,
I was a little
this
shocked.
Could be the second use it for this. It
Absolutely.
may not be pipe first. It may be pipe secondary. And so that's why
was my first time.
I'd smell it first is all I'm saying.
Totally. Well, it was my first time experiencing like a wood pipe. I was like, wood? Like what? I was like, aren't they glass? Anyways, it was a journey, but I didn't really consume a lot.
Ditto.
I did grow up in a meth town. Oh my God. Yes.
You were like, no, all the pipes I know are glass with a ball at the bottom.
Right. We just shatter the light bulb. No, I never did do meth, but God, we do have a problem in Montana that needs to be addressed.
I mean, small town America has a problem with
yes,
really
absolutely.
Every town in America. But yeah, so I didn't mean to diverge that.
No,
okay.
Totally sidebar. But yeah, I didn't really start consuming consistently until college.
Okay.
And that was like a whole different world for me. So I graduated with my degree in psychology and art. I have a dual degree. And so as an art student, I was constantly being kind of put in boxes while they were trying to, figure out, oh, what are you going to do? What is very like specific? And that's what you're going to chase. Those are the classes you're going to take. And I just wanted to do a little bit of everything. I'm like, I'm here once.
Let me dance around a little bit.
Absolutely. And
I
so
know that feeling.
Cannabis just helped. It really just helped me stay inside the box long enough to graduate.
I love that reference, like stay inside the box. Because, I use it because otherwise my brain goes like 90 to nothing. So if I'm high, then I can kind of focus on one thing. Let's just do it and focus on that, and we'll go step by step.
Yeah.
So I agree with you on that one. Here's a question for you that I guess growing up, you'll probably be able to relate to this as a small-town Mississippi person. How did your parents find out? Did you get caught? And what was the punishment?
Absolutely. So no, I was so sneaky. I was so good.
Would they have killed you if they found out? Or were they like okay with it?
My mom would have definitely been really disappointed. My dad can't say anything. He was a longtime stoner, and really I think half of my life was probably funded from certain activities that I will not.
Hey, again, we don't shame on this podcast.
But
Shout out to your dad, though. That sounds fucking
I was going to say, there's actually a time I remember in elementary school, and I wanted to bring this flower pot in for show and tell because it was so pretty, and we had talked about it, and it was like this whole thing. I come to find out years later, it was his weed pipe, and there was weed in it. He's like, oh yeah, that's, it's growing. There's like a flower in there, and it's like grass. And I believed him. I'm a kid. He's telling me years later, and I'm like, oh my goodness. I was like, wow. He was definitely the dad that would like run into the house like, oh, forgot something before we're like going on the road trip. Found out it's to get high.
Yeah,
so he really can't say anything.
Road trip, I get it. But no, at the same time, that's pretty gnarly. Like,
yeah.
We always got like like you were saying, we're disappointed. We're not mad, we're disappointed.
Disappointed, yeah. All the disappointment. But no, I think that I have a unique situation in where I was a first-generation college student. I had a mom from teen pregnancy, so like they were very much like, don't fuck this up. Like,
you're like, come on, please.
And I didn't. I really, I was like, I want to go to school. I want to get out of Great Falls. And then once I was in school, I was like, I need to get out of Montana a little bit. And then being able to do that and getting enabled by the universe in that way, I was like very grateful for it. And then just kind of like dove in from there, and here we are. So I'm very grateful for all of it, but it is wild to think about, you know, going from like that. Yeah.
That path that you've taken?
Totally. But yeah, they can't say anything.